Meet Tiffany. As you can see, she is very stressed right now. Later today, she is going to take her compass test, and is extremely nervous. To calm down, she decides to eat, using the microwave to warm up the food her mom had previously made for her in the morning.
If you're bored and you know it, eat a snack. If you're lonely and you know it, eat a snack. If you're sleepy and you know it, if you're guilty and you know it, if you're stressed, eat a snack.
At this point, Tiffany realized she had made a mistake. Instinctively, she reached for her plate after microwaving her food because she was dying to get her hands on her mom's taquitos. But little did she know what conflict would come her way and how hot her plate really was.
Your nervous system, consisting of the central and peripheral nervous systems, coordinates all of the movements that occur in your body. The central nervous system is primarily made up of the brain and spinal cord. The central nervous system's function is to interpret messages sent by the peripheral system, and then send the necessary response from your brain and spinal cord to other regions in the body. The brain is the control center of the nervous system, with the spinal cord being second in control, and the nerves being the connection linking the brain to the spinal cord as well as throughout the body.
The peripheral nervous system's main parts are sensory and motor neurons. Sensory neurons are the complete opposite of motor neurons. They are afferent, which means they carry nerve impulses from receptors or sense organs inward towards the central nervous system. Motor neurons are efferent, meaning they send out information in regard to how to respond from your brain to the effector organs, such as muscles and glands.
Lying in between the sensory and motor neurons are a set of ganglia. Ganglia are clusters of cell bodies in the peripheral system. Synapses from both nervous systems are made at the ganglia sites. The ganglia cells send out fibers called preganglionic motor neurons, which are nerve fibers that extend into the ganglia of the peripheral nervous system. At the synapses within the ganglia, preganglionic neurons release acetylcholine, a neurotransmitter activating receptors on postganglionic neurons. Postganglionic motor neurons extend from the ganglia to body organs. In response to this stimulus, postganglionic neurons release norepinephrine, which activates the receptor. Norepinephrine is considered a neurotransmitter when it's released from a neuron and travels across a synapse, but it is considered a hormone when secreted by a gland into the bloodstream for distribution.
In the sympathetic system, ganglia are grouped in a long chain just outside the spinal cord. In the parasympathetic system, ganglia are located in groups along certain cranial nerves. Motor neurons are broken down into two divisions, the somatic and autonomic nervous systems. The somatic nervous system is a voluntary system, defined as having a conscious and active mind in making decisions. On the other hand, the autonomic nervous system is an involuntary system, which means it is not under our conscious control.
The autonomic system is further divided into the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous systems. The sympathetic, also known as the fight or flight response, prepares the body for action during emergencies. In response to emergencies where life is seemingly threatened, blood would disperse to areas that need it the most. Along with that, the heart has its rate and blood pressure increased when reacting to an urgent situation. However, the cardiac system isn't the only portion of our body that the sympathetic system affects. As the lungs have inclined respiration, the eyes dilate, digestion is slowed, and the glands secrete sweat.
Tiffany immediately let go of her food because the plate holding it was scorching hot. This then led to being stimuli generated, sending signals of danger and pain to the spinal cord. Shortly thereafter, the spinal cord enacted a response known as an instinct or reflex, leading to the hand instantly jerking back. This is the sympathetic nervous system in action, responding to the heat that came from the plate.
The parasympathetic nervous system is the rest and digest and feed and breathe response. Unlike the sympathetic, the parasympathetic nervous system returns the body to normal after an emergency. The body is returned to a homeostasis state and the blood that was rushing into the needed areas are now back to where it should be. The eyes are no longer dilated, the lungs constrict to slow down breathing, the digestive system is operating faster, and the heart is at its resting state.
After finishing lunch, Tiffany headed to Bellevue College to take her compass test. When she arrived at the building, anxiety blanketed her, as well as others who were taking the test, meaning that their sympathetic nervous systems were put to work. After finding out that she passed, her once drastic heart rate and pressure dwindled, as well as her breathing. This time, her parasympathetic system took action, as she was relieved to have successfully passed her crisis.